Hi everybody, this is Rachel. So I first wanted to start out by saying like borders and shapes so much cooler than I originally thought they were. When I originally started reading this assignment, I was like, okay, borders, great, I know what they are, but apparently they do so much more than what I thought they were. So um, this was what I did to complete the heart. And I kind of want to go into on a little bit more detail what some of the other things did on the shape that I created. I created kind of a wonky, it almost looks like a hazmat sign or a hazardous sign, but kind of like a twisted hourglass or diamond. So I want to start out by saying our border, so this is the bottom border, not the top border. If we change the top border, this would be different. But stuff like this, your solid, you can actually change that. So I'm going to show you what a double looks like and show you, okay, like turns into kind of a candy corn. So just knowing that your solid isn't your only choice. I believe you can have, trying to think what else you can have. I looked it up earlier and now I'm trying to remember. You can have groove. Um, you can have a ridge. Let's try that one out. I didn't try that one earlier. Okay. You can have solid. There's plenty of different types of border that you can have, as well as this red can be a different color if you want it to be. We are gonna just stick with red for the purposes of this video, but there's so many different things that you can have as far as like colors and shapes, and I feel like that is the extent of what I always knew about borders. For instance, like, I mean, I could change this to 220 pixels and the one shape would be way longer. So, this all has to do with like oh, I don't know why I'm trying to make that so big. Was it 20? Now I can't remember. 50, let's try that. Okay, so now that I've got that back to what it originally was, I couldn't remember, and then I realized I also had this top one right here. So I don't know why I was struggling with that so much. Okay, so our width and our height determines how wide we want that to stretch. So let's say that I maybe change this to like 200 pixels. That's the width of each one. So the width of the top and the bottom one has just grown times two, really. If I want the width to be like way little, well, it can't be less than the degree that it's rounded to, if that makes sense. But I can do, let's see, I think I can do 50 and it should be fine. Yep. So that's also going to make it grow. Okay, we don't want it to be too crazy. I do want it to kind of stay that hazmat-y symbol. The height does just about the same thing. So for instance, if I were to change this to 15 pixels, it's going to stretch apart just a little bit. And the higher the number, the bigger the gap will be between those two. So like now they're like not even close to touching. So that's how we got them to be close together. I definitely, so this is what affects like how they become a triangle. So the border left, if I were to mess with this a little bit and say, okay, I want it to be 100 pixels, it's not going to be a triangle anymore. It's going to be skewed because it needs to be half of the base pretty much. So we're going to stick with 50 pixels. That created kind of a fun shape, didn't it? Like a line. We are going to stick with it to being 50 pixels. And then the border radius, this is what gives us kind of that really nice rounded corner on every side. So it goes from left to right and then in a clockwise rotation. So if I were to change this to say 30, oops, can't do that. I don't know why I'm going the wrong direction. If I were to say, all right, I want it to be 80, 80. 100. Oh, that's not quite 100. 100. And then 80, 80, 100, 100. That's going to change how this border radius is. And this is just this top one that I'm changing. I can change both of them. Well, I mean, the top one I changed exponentially, so like this one is going to be 80 and 80 because left to right, and then the bottom are both 100 still, or 100, and so they're going to pretty much look pretty close to the same. So let me just undo all of what I did there. Oops. All right. So I decided that I wanted to play with the rotation a little bit. So this is just me deciding, okay, I want to rotate it a little bit, and then I decided to push it out a little bit as well. All of this WebKit, Transform, Origin, Moz Transform, MS Transform, O Transform, all of that has to do with compatibility for different browsers. So for instance, most of this is supported in most browsers. However, let's say I'm using an old version of Internet Explorer and it doesn't support this, or I'm using an old version of Firefox and it doesn't support this. We want to make sure that it works for every browser that we may use. So that's why we're adding in this stuff to make sure that no matter what browser is being used, the person will be able to see the shape or the image the way that we want them to see it. So hopefully that all makes sense. I did kind of fumble away in some of my explanation, but I really am really excited to play with this a little bit more and figure out like, okay, these shapes work this way and this is really fun. And definitely when I changed that one and it became that like long red line, I was like, dang, that is really cool. I need to mess with this a little bit more. So thanks for watching. Bye.